Can you imagine all that money going to India? I wonder what they think when they get it. Now, it's a kickback scheme. You know, it's not like they get it and they spend. They kick it back to the people that send it, I would say, in many cases.
US President Donald Trump hints at foreign interference in India once again, claiming the Joe Biden administration allocated $21 million to top-raise voter turnout. Trump suggested it could be a kickback scheme.
And $21 million for voter turnout in India. Why are we caring about India turnout? We got enough problems. We want our own turnout, don't we? Can you imagine all that money going to India? I wonder what they think when they get it. Now, it's a kickback scheme. You know, it's not like they get it and they spend. They kick it back to the people that send it, I would say, in many cases, many of these cases.
The Congress, citing newspaper reports, claimed that USAID allocated $21 million for voter turnout to Bangladesh and not India. The BJP rejected the news report. And Rahul Gandhi to foreign meddling, flagging his speeches in London last year.
तो विदेश में भारत के लोकतंत्र को कमजोर करने का षड्यंत्र कर रहे थे और राहुल गांधी अपील कर रहे थे कि बड़े लोकतांत्रिक देश भारत के लोकतंत्र को सफल करने में मदद करें, मतलब राहुल गांधी को जिताने में मदद करें। उनको वोट नहीं मिलता, हार जाते हैं बार-बार।
The Congress denied the foreign interference charge, demanding the Modi government release a white paper on where the funds were used.
ये भारत में जो चुनावी प्रक्रिया है, इसमें हस्तक्षेप करने के लिए इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा था और ऐसा क्यों किया जाना चाहिए। मोदी जी से नफरत करते करते वो अब भारत से नफरत करने लगे, यहां के नागरिकों से वो नफरत करने लगे। मोदी जी को वो अपनी क्षमता से, जो उनकी लोकप्रियता बची नहीं है, उससे हरा नहीं सकते, इसलिए विदेशी ताकतों का वो सहारा लेते हैं।
ये तो यूक्रेन से लेकर और पता नहीं कहां पूरे विश्व में जाकर तिकड़मे लगाते हैं। कभी सुनते हैं विदेशों में कुछ कर दिया कांड, कई तिकड़मे लगा रहे होते हैं। तो जब इतनी तिकड़मे आप विदेशों में लगाते हो, आपके देश में $21 मिलियन आया तो ये तो आपके चेहरे पे तमाचा। फिर बोलते नहीं, 2012 में जब यूपीए की सरकार थी तब आया था, तो 14 का रिजल्ट जो आपका पक्ष में आया, क्या आप उस पैसे से जीते?
Donald Trump's big charge has triggered a big fight in India. Did the United States meddle in our elections? Bureau Report, India Today.
Good evening, viewers. You're watching To The Point, and I am Preeti Choudhry. Now, to understand, USAID is a government agency, and one would think that any money that the USAID doles out to governments, to ministries, to even NGOs will have a record back where the government of the United States of America was in question. Now, the comment that the President of America made seemed to suggest that there was foreign meddling in Indian political affairs by giving out, we don't know where the money ever came in, of $21 million, which the BJP has interpreted the deep state trying to meddle into India's democracy. On the other hand, the Congress has completely denied any of these charges, urging the Modi government to come out with a white paper on these funds, if at all they were received. Well, I want to cut across right now to my colleague Ankit Kumar, who heads our OSINT team, who will give us a larger understanding on what this controversy is all about. Ankit, you know, USAID is a government agency. The DOG should have every possible record of what money was sent out where, if to governments, if to NGOs, whoever so at all. Now, the DOG, the information that we have seems to suggest that Bangladesh actually got the money and not India. So did Donald Trump somewhere down the line confuse, Dhaka for Delhi?
Preeti, to understand this entirely complex maze better, let's turn the clock and go back to February 16. That was the day when DOGE, as you rightly said, for the first time published the official record of USAID funding money for India's electoral process. Now, if you read, or any of our audiences read the exact post that is still available on X, there is a very interesting anomaly there. For every other country barring India, the expense head has been covered with an inverted comma, quote. In India's case, the operating word voter turnout does not have a quote. The quote actually works as a key term when you search the USAID's database. So US government maintains a separate database. It is still online. You can search how much money has come through USAID. Obviously, the money belongs to the US government, but it has come through USAID to which country, under which head. Now, in case of Bangladesh, if you search the exact head, you can actually account for a lot of money, right? You can see the processes match. The money was sent to fund the activists. The money was spent for students. The money was sent under democratic processes, or at least so-called democratic processes. In India's case, while the allegation is that the money was spent for voter turnout, the quotes are missing. Now, if you run the exact query on the database, you will not find any specific expenses such as voter turnout. Now, there are some matching expenses, democratic processes, etc., etc. Even if you count the entire money, that will not amount to 21 million. So somehow the ambiguity and the complexities started not today. It started with Dodge's first statement. Why is that keyword missing from Dodge's statement? Next day, Trump issues a statement repeating the same claims, but unfortunately, the database, the US government's official database, does not match the records. Now, there are two other possibilities that may happen, right? In US, the fiscal year has different days. The current database is updated up to September 30. So if this amount was supposed to be spent and has not already been spent, that might cover Trump's claims. But it is up to the US president or the Dodge or Elon Musk to clarify as to why and how that money was spent. Remember, US president is now admitting that the US government was somehow interfering into India's elections. So the onus is on US administration to give us more details.
So what we know, Ankit, before I quickly let you go, is we have no record to suggest that money came into India to the tune of $21 million.
Money that came for quote-unquote voter turnout.
Yes,
that is not there. That is not there. There are different processes. Remember, when we talk about elections, there is a large population of Tibetans who live in India. They have their parallel government.
Fair
you know
point.
who funds, you know who aids them? The US government. USAID funds them. The electoral processes is...
And the USAID also, Ankit, gives out money for various other departments as well.
Health, Preeti, is the topmost. But the problem with the entire Trump claim is that the voter turnout phrase that he has used...
For this particular
head, that data is missing.
All right. So it's for the US government to now come up and back what they seem to insinuate, number one. And number two, if the BJP is making clear that money did in fact come in and it was used by the Congress to fight an election by the help of the deep state, then the government also has to come out. Because right now, what we really have got from the Ministry of External Affairs, viewers, is only a statement, and that has come days after these charges were made, which is investigations are being carried on. Allegations like this are worrisome. But there is really no proof. I want to bring in right now K.C. Singh, former Indian diplomat, into this conversation. Mr. Singh, what do you make, Ambassador Singh, of what we are really witnessing? Because there's so much jargon involved. Number one, I want to ask you, USAID is a government agency. So there are bound to be records if money has actually come in for voter turnout to the tune of $21 million to India.
Absolutely correct. I think what we are dealing with is the Trumpian period, which is a parallel universe which has all kinds of fictionalized accounts and claims. After all, he is a president who's not even conceded that he lost the last election. He's a person who thinks it's Ukraine that attacked Russia. So for him, reality is as he shapes it, as he articulates it. Therefore, his claims, I think the danger is for any government, and particularly for the Indian government, that if you go by his claims and then you start attacking people within the country or create a controversy, you may end up with egg on your faces. So it's always, you should take whatever Trump is saying with a degree of caution, with a great degree of caution, and let the issue settle down, because he will himself contradict him. Or even if he's contradicted, he doesn't care. He will invent a new reality. And we are seeing this happening on a daily basis as his rankings in America, his popularity is tanking. It's never happened that in the first month and a half of a presidency, your popularity tanks below 50%. Because he was elected not for this. He was elected really for managing the economy and managing the immigration thing. He's acted on immigration. But economy, I think they're not able to bring the prices down. Prices, if anything, have gone up. And as yet, he's saying on April 1, he's going to start his reciprocal taxes. Now, if you take the reciprocal tariffs, that is the other danger. Prime Minister came out of the meeting and we were briefed and said everything is hunky-dory and we are going to have a trade agreement, first phase of trade agreement by October. Now, common sense indicated that if you have reached a basic agreement to reach part of the agreement, then the tariffs will be held back. There's no point having the tariffs come in on 1st of April. Now, again, he's gone on record day before or yesterday saying, but I never said that. I said the tariffs are on. So therefore, dealing with Trump, I think governments have to be careful. You do not start domestic controversies. You do not use it for political one-upmanship because he is capable of distorting the truth, inventing facts, misstating facts. He said America has given much more to Ukraine than anybody else. Actually, the Europeans have given more aid than Americans.
Right.
So, all his facts and figures we've seen over the last 4 years, all his facts and figures are
Ambassador Singh,
as he wants to shape
I want to
them.
ask you one quick question before I let you go, because what really has happened in turn is it's lit a political fire back home in India. Now, we did see a studied silence coming in from the Ministry of External Affairs, and now they've come out with a statement that what's happening is worrisome and they are investigating as we speak. When USAID gives out or doles out money, Ambassador Singh, it's usually government to government. Even if NGOs are given the money, then the government really is notified. The RBI would know if such huge sums of money is coming and filtering into India. So even at our end, we should be able to verify and record if the money ever came in.
Not only that, there are hundreds of NGOs whose provision has been withdrawn by the government. So the government has been very closely monitoring. And if you look at the US budget is $6 trillion. Now, out of $6 trillion, only $41 billion go to US aid, which is 0.014%. So what is the money that Trump is trying to save? And then out of that, 21 million is a minuscule sum out of that amount. Now, to make a point as if he's going to make America very rich by canceling USAID, the damage he has done is USAID may well be, no country uses its money abroad purely as charity. Every country does it. I'm sure we do it. Everybody does it. There's always some string attached depending on what it is. But in any case, there is a lot of positive things this was doing, especially in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, handling disease, handling extremely poor people. So in the process, he's harmed US's outreach and vacated the space for China, vacated the space for other countries, and therefore it is a net loss for America. So I don't know, but then this is Trump. I don't think he weighs his loss and gain differently.
Right. Appreciate you joining us, Ambassador Singh. Thank you there. I want to quickly bring in our other guests into this conversation. Rajiv Dogra, former Indian diplomat, Ashok Sajjanhar, former Indian diplomat, Charu Pragya, national spokesperson, BJP, Mahima Singh, national spokesperson, Congress. Viewers, I just want to also translate. When it comes down to $21 million coming in to destabilize the Indian democracy, it's actually just a drop in the bucket when you look at it and interpret it. It's 180 crores. And there should be records. And if there are records, then they need to be made public now. I want to bring in Rajiv Dogra for a quick comment, and then I'll cut across to Charu Pragya as well. Rajiv Dogra, what do you make of this entire controversy? Because USAID money, the politics aside, what's the protocol? They're bound to be records on either side, be it America, because it's a government agency, or be it India, even if it's come through a funnel through an NGO, a sum like this will be recorded with the RBI and the government.
Well, you said it absolutely correctly, that yes, there has to be a record. It can't come in through Hawala. USAID money is actually sanctioned by the Foreign Ministry of America, which is the State Department. And it obviously, a sum like $21 million is no small peanuts. It is a significant sum. especially when you're giving it to another country for whatever purposes, which, as is being alleged, are not quite transparent purposes. So it must have the sanction at the ministerial level. Without that, it cannot happen. Let me also give you my personal experience of how countries do interfere in other countries' affairs. I was in London in the 90s, and I did confront both Amnesty International and BBC when they tried to influence our elections in Kashmir. And I was the first one who made BBC withdraw its journalist overnight. I was the first one to whom Amnesty International apologized for the wrongs they were doing. So it is not beyond belief that America was trying to interfere and influence our election process. Whether the money was transferred to A or B or C is not at issue. The fact is, the president of a country has said, yes, money was given. So do we disbelieve him? Do we need any further proof? In my opinion, we don't. The point that we in India have to investigate is, where did that money
go? Yes. Fair point, sir. Fair point. Ashok Sajjanhar, do you concur with Rajiv Dogra?
Well, yes, by and large, Preeti, but, let me just add here that, there are many NGOs who receive funds from abroad and they are given for a particular purpose. But how those funds are utilized, that is can be a big question mark. That is a moot point. And I think that is one of the reasons why the Indian government, under Prime Minister Modi, they have cancelled the FCRA licenses of hundreds and thousands of such NGOs. I'll draw your attention to one particular instance which became very well known, which was, during Dr. Manmohan Singh's time, there was the Kudankulam power project, nuclear power project, and there were huge demonstrations by fishermen who said, that their environment and their livelihood, etc., is going to be destroyed. And it came out very clearly that there were some NGOs from Sweden and, from the Nordic countries who were funding these projects, and many of them, were funding some of the Christian organizations who were giving money for these demonstrations. So these NGOs are, we have to face it, even what is called the deep state, the CIA. They have done away with the presidents in, for instance, in Chile, Salvador Allende, meaning he was assassinated because he did not meet with the requirements of the US government. We've seen Mr. Soros, who says that I'm going to spend $1 billion to unseat Mr. Modi. So, as far as the US aid is concerned, that is what we are discussing. They might be doing good work in health, in education, in training, skill development, but there could be certain provisions. The point I want to make, Preeti, is that US aid will not be the only one. There would be whole plethora of many other NGOs who would also be engaged in similar activity, in similar programs.
All right, I just want to bring in...
Government needs to find out.
Okay, I want to bring in Charu Pragya and Mahima Singh into this conversation because the matter has become exceedingly political. Charu Pragya, there's one thing I think we've all discussed, and there's one commonality which has emerged, that USAID is a government organization. If money to the tune of $21 million, which is 180 crore rupees, is filtered into India, then there has to be a record. Even if it has come to a government agency, there is a record. It cannot be done without the RBI knowing. Even if it is funneled into an NGO in India, even then there needs to be a record. The fact is, right now, all we are indulging in is political rhetoric. The government of the day should come out with proof. The MEA is saying they're investigating. By now, we should have had the proof if you're charging, the Congress of actually getting the money and trying to destabilize the government. It should be easy to corroborate that with proof and records.
Absolutely, Preeti, and don't worry about that. The government will find a record of everything. Now, let me put something straight for the record. And India Today Group and, in fact, Rajdeep Sardesai has tweeted this. Let me give a clarification. If you read the official tweet put out by the Department of Government Efficiency, United States of America, it says that this funding has been stopped. So the 21 million that everybody is continuously discussing was the funding which has been flagged, by the way.
So it never came in, you're saying?
Which has already come in.
So you're saying it never came in?
Tweet. Let me finish, Preeti, and I would appreciate you not interrupting me on this because the way narratives are being built up, that is the problem. So I would urge you and all the viewers.
Ma'am, you have all the time. Go ahead, make your point.
Read the tweet, which clearly says that this is the money which is being cancelled. Now, that being said, let me draw a comparison between the money which has come into India during the UPA regime and last 10 years of NDA regime.
Can I ask you, before you get into that, Charu Pragya, will you allow me a rebuttal?
No,
I'm just asking, and you can continue.
Preeti, can I finish, please?
Ma'am, you can continue if only, just allow me a rebuttal because it's from the point that you made. So what you're saying, before you move on, what you're saying is that the money was cancelled and the $21 million never came into India. There was a plan of sending the money, but it was never received. It was cancelled, correct?
So this is exactly what the Dodge tweet says on X. If you open that exact message, that is what it says. And it also talks about funding to various other countries under various other headers. In India, it was apparently for voter turnout, which is ironic because India has a higher voter turnout than the United States of America, which is also ironic because expenditure in the Indian general election was higher than the amount of money spent in the US election. But while I have said this, understand this. During the UPA regime, the Sarkar got 204 million USD. NDA in the last 10 years got 1.5 million USD. Draw a comparison between that. 204 to UPA and 1.5 to NDA. So why is it that UPA continued to get that massive amount of funding? That is foreign interference, which has been done during the UPA time. Now, comparison number two. In comparison number two, see the amount of money which was coming to NGOs during UPA. It was far lesser. In the NDA regime, the amount of money which has been given to NGOs is 2,579 million USD, which comes to more than 23,000 crore rupees. 23,000 crore rupees, and this money has come into India. Now you will say, why is there no record of this money? You'll also remember that the government has continuously been flagging and cancelling FCRA licenses of many suspect NGOs which were involved in underhanded activities. And there's been a controversy about that. Lots of NGOs have spoken out. But this was for the very same reason. Oxfam, I'll give you an example. Right? Georgetown. All of these people got their FCRA fundings cancelled. Now, corroborate this amount of money coming into India with political activity in India. Suddenly, you will see a spike to money coming into India during the farmers' protest.
Fair point.
You
Let me take that
during during the Bharat Jodo Yatra. And also understand Trump has now made two statements about this funding. In the first statement, he said it was for a regime change. He very clearly talked about a regime change. What is the regime? Modi Sarkar. What will a change mean? So-called India Alliance,
all right,
supporters,
I want to bring in,
etc.
Charu Pragya, allow me to bring in Mahima Singh into this conversation. So 2 points that Charu Pragya has made. Point number one, Charu Pragya, and correct me if I'm wrong, you've clarified that the $21 million never really came into India, it was cancelled, number one. So that is off the table now. And you're talking about the entire term of the UPA versus the entire term of the NDA. The money that USAID gave to both the governments is the figures you're quoting. Correct? Correct me if I'm wrong?
Yeah, that's
right. That is it. Okay. So Mahima saying that $21 million never came. It was cancelled, but the intention was to destabilize the Modi government. Yet, if you go back into the UPA years,
yes. Do not forget the 2,579 million USD which has come to NGOs.
Which you are saying has been, one second, but ma'am, I'm talking about, I'm separating the two, no? I made you go through with what you said. All right. So, but if you look at the two regimes, UPA or NDA, Mahima Singh, you've got more money. And of course, Charu Pragya also claims there's been a lot of money that has been funneled through NGOs.
Jai Hind. Preeti, I was listening very carefully to the BJP spokesperson. Now, you see, the question is that Mr. Donald Trump, who is Prime Minister Modi's close friend, as stated by the Prime Minister and many BJP functionaries, So Mr. Modi's close friend, Mr. Trump, makes a faux pas, and we claim deliberately so, when he names India instead of Bangladesh when he brings up this issue of 21 million US dollars.
No.
Now, we are demanding, the Indian National Congress is demanding white paper on that, while the BJP goes on to state it as deep state, goes on to demonize such a collaboration with, as you have rightly said, with a government entity, that is USAID. Now, let me take you a little back in the history, Preeti. You've got to understand, and the viewers have got to understand, that this very foundation, USAID, and now it's all over the internet, that of the who's who of the BJP, their former ministers and current ministers, ranging from Smriti Irani to S. Jaishankar to Piyush Goyal, and their schemes from demonetization to Swachh Bharat to zero carbon emission objective till 2030 to Samriddha initiative, all of these have a USAID footprint on them. And it doesn't, this is not where it began. It began in 60s and 70s when this RSS and Jansangh ecosystem was being funded by the very same organization. Let me give you a small instance.
Ma'am, I'll give you equal time. Allow her to finish. You have 30 seconds, Mahima Singh. Then I'll go to Charu Pragya and come back to you.
1993, I'll give you a couple of nuances, and then the BJP spokesperson can happily go on lie-mongering as she's already been doing. 1993, when Mr. Narendra Modi was not even a chief minister of Gujarat, when he was a normal RSS worker, we want to ask, why was he visiting the United States and holding meeting with the American Council of Young Political Leaders, which was practically funded by the USAID? We also want to question why during COVID-19, Mr. S. Jaishankar was seeking help, and that was to the tune of, let me just tell you, 41 million.
Can I come in now?
Ma'am, allow her to finish. I'll come. So you're making your counter claims. I don't have the time to come in for any rebuttals, but I'll give Charu Pragya 1 minute. Go ahead, Charu Pragya, and I'll come back to Mahima Singh. Ma'am, I'll come back to you. Hard cut. Charu Pragya, go ahead.
So this is the tweet that I was trying to show you, Preeti. Now, I don't know if this is visible, okay? I'm going to read it out to you. It says US taxpayer dollars were going to be spent on the following items, all of which have been cancelled. I will read from the end of the tweet now. It says that there was money for India, 21 million for voter turnout in India. And the next line reads, 29 million to strengthen political landscape in Bangladesh. Today, in fact, Trump has said what exactly is the political landscape. So these are two different statements, and both of it is true, not as claimed by various reports which are spreading misinformation. Now, second thing, and this is very important, Rahul Gandhi has been begging for foreign interference. He goes to London and he says, Europe, what are you doing? America, what are you doing? Come and interfere in Indian democracy. Can you not see what is happening around us? Also, he very clearly says that he's not fighting against the BJP RSS. He's fighting against the state of India itself. And he says,
all right, so that's your inference. Confidence. All right, okay, that is the inference that has been made by the BJP. But Charu Pragya, so once again, we are sticking to the fact that $21 million, which has been debated on, was cancelled, right? Mahima Singh, please answer, retort to Charu Pragya on the claims that she has made on the funneling of money through NGOs, which is practically trying to aid you to destabilize the Indian government.
Rajiv Gandhi Foundation, Global Knowledge
Ma'am, allow her. Now you had your I have only 1 minute, ma'am. Let's play fair. Go ahead, Mahima Singh, go ahead.
Let me take you through this funneling of money chronologically, Preeti, and you'll have to allow me an uninterrupted time. 1966. John D. Smith, an American spy, had stated that CIA used RSS as a puppet to overthrow Congress government of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's.
He wrote a book and he clarified.
Ma'am, please don't do this. It's okay. Mahima Singh, you have 30 seconds. Make your point. Mahima Singh, 30 seconds.
Desperation of the BJP. 1971. In a similar fashion, there were conspiracies to destabilize Indira Gandhi's government. And then 2014, Preeti, before 2014, you would remember the whole India.
The very same person you're quoting, he was supporting
funded from the US, and as a result,
the next time we're going to try and start putting down faders, because you've got to allow the same courtesy that you're extended. I've run out of time. You've heard all sides. You've heard the experts as well. We wish we had more time, but we don't quite. We leave it for you to decide on what really went down.